Benefits of government not interfering with church matters. Freedom of conscience, religion, belief, and worship is a fundamental right envisaged in the constitutions, conventions, and treaties in countries that bind countries all over the world. This freedom of worship has made it possible for the Church to enjoy autonomy, such that the state by law is prevented from interfering with the affairs of the Church. This means that the Church has a right of self-governance, to come up with its regulations and administer them. However, the Church today is dealing with one of the most trying times that in the near future, the state will explicitly establish one sect or religion, the official religion, whereby all believers will be required to subscribe to such religion, be issued with special identification as a member of the official religion. Those who will fail to subscribe to it will not be able to buy or sell anything. Award, 2016. The issue of separation of church from the state has great, legal and moral significance. Audi, 1989. Legally, the separation of church and the state confers benefits to believers in that a benefit, such as government job, is not given or withheld from a believer because of one's religious allegiance. This makes it possible for believers to exercise their faith without fear of victimization when it comes to aspects like access to education, employment opportunities, and other government services. Although the government is not obliged to support activities of the church financially, the government supports public primary and secondary schools. The Establishment Clause bars the government from endorsing a particular religious viewpoint, and this applies to its agents like teachers, administrators and governance boards from promoting a given sectarian religion in their official capacity. This neutrality allows Christian believers to access education without prejudice of having been required to conform to certain religious inclinations in public learning institutions. In public primary and secondary schools, the government finances religious activities like prayer, Bible study, etc. indirectly, and other elements of Christian faith included in the curriculum. Boise Center for Religion, 2015. Religious organizations enjoy from such state privileges like tax exemption. This enables churches to fund their activities with collections from their faithful. However, today the church engages in economic activities like real estate business, running of schools, levying fees, and owning of restaurants. While the Constitution guarantees the church freedom of religion, these investments are not spiritual matters, and levying taxes on the proceeds of such investments does not amount to government interference. Robbins, 1985. Other benefits of self-regulation are as follows. With no government interference, religious leaders have the opportunity to set standards, which are largely agreeable among the members. With self-regulation, the churches own and are bound by such regulations. Under self-regulation, the formulators of the regulations are religious leaders who understand the effect of such religious regulation on practicing their faith. If allowed to be done by government, such regulation will be deficient of key antecedents of religious, and that might affect the commitment and compliance of churches to such regulations. Separation of the church from the state encourages discussion on matters of public interest. Church has a voice in the community as it draws its membership from the public. In important matters such as constitutional amendments, the position of the church is normally considered. Since the church's voice is important in promoting a moral society, pieces of legislation that have the input of the church are bound to be effective and readily acceptable by the larger public. Viewed from the perspective of the public, separation of the church from the state is desirable, but the freedom of worship may lead to excesses that have a negative effect on the well-being of the people. In such a situation, the church should collaborate with state agencies to handle matters that are beyond reprimand of religious councils to rogue members who are perpetuating criminal activities in the name of God.